For today's video, I'm going to be using acrylic yarn by Big Twist, and this is the twinkle kind, and this is also the color sapphire, and I'm also going to be using the color white for the stars. I'm going to be using a 425 crochet hook, some scissors, tapestry needles and stitch markers, and also measuring tape. I'm going to begin by taking measurements, and there's two ways of doing this. You can either measure it off yourself or even grab a sweater that you really like and measure that instead, which is what I'll be doing in this video. You're going to need the length and width of the body of the sweater and also the length and width of the sleeves. But when you're taking these measurements, do not include the cuff into the measurement because we're going to add it in later on. Since I already finished my panels and also the colors I'm using blends in with my background, I'm going to use a different color. That way I can show you what I did. You're going to start off by making a slip knot, and you're going to make a chain length that's long enough for your measurements. I did a chain length of 70 for my sleeves, and then I did a chain length of 85 for the body of the sweater. But since my panels are already done, I'm going to make a smaller scale, so I'm just going to make a chain length of 15. Once your chain length is done, you're basically going to flip the chain until you see these little back humps exposed. This is where you're going to be putting your stitches in because it gives you a much cleaner edge and it's going to be a lot easier to assemble later on. So for this sweater, I'm going to be using back looped half double crochets, but the first row is just going to be a simple row of half double crochets. So you're going to yarn over and you're going to flip your chain until you see these back humps. And then you're just going to go underneath that, grab the yarn, and then finish off the stitch. So once again, yarn over, go underneath this back hump, grab the yarn, and pull all the way through. Yarn over, go underneath this back hump, grab the yarn, and then pull all the way through. And you're going to repeat this until you have about 4 to 5 stitches left. I have a couple stitches left and I want to get rid of this tail, so what I like to do is I go underneath this back hump and then I bring the tail forward and then I simply just crochet right over it. I just finished my first row, and to start our second row, you're simply just going to chain one and flip our work. If you've crocheted a beanie before, then this should be really easy, but if you haven't made a beanie yet, you're simply just going to yarn over and you're going to make half double crochets only on the back loop of the stitch. So you see how there's two lines? You're going to go in between and only go on the back loop. So once again, you're going to yarn over, go in between the stitch, make sure you're only going through one loop. One more time, yarn over, go in between the stitch, and finish it off. And this is going to give your work a little bit of texture. And now repeat this until you finish this row. I have one stitch left, so I'm just going to do the same thing, go into the back loop and finish it off. And now you're going to repeat the same thing you did earlier, so you're going to chain one and flip your work and only make half double crochets in the back loops only. Now you're going to repeat this back and forth until you reach your measurements. And once you finish that, we can move on to the stars. Once you finish your panels, you're only going to attach these two sections together simply because it's easier to sew on the stars on a flat surface rather than a round one. If you're using your own measurements for this sweater, you're simply going to divide that measurement by 3 to find out how wide you're going to make your neck hole, but you can also just alter that to your liking. And if you're following a sweater like I am, just follow the same neckline as the sweater. Now I'm going to show you how to attach your panels, and this is the same assembling process that you're going to repeat for the rest of the sweater. So you're simply just going to go to the edge of the corners and then you're going to bring your yarn forward and make a knot. Once you finish your knot, you're going to crochet over these two tails simply so you don't have to weave them in later. So once that's attached, you're simply just going to chain one, bring these two tails forward, and you're simply going to make single crochets until you reach the stitch marker. And once I finish that, I'll attach the sleeves and move on to the stars. Once you finish your panels, it's time to start the stars. So we're going to start off by making a magic ring. To do a magic ring, you're going to put your hand in an L shape and you're going to grab the yarn underneath and create an X. Once you see this X, you're going to flip over and you're going to see these two lines. Once you've done that, you're going to go underneath the stitch, grab the yarn and twist, and now you can let go. Once you've let go, you're going to make a chain length of 2. Once that's done, you're going to make 11 double crochets in this ring. So you're going to yarn over, go inside the ring, grab the yarn, pull once and twice, yarn over, go inside the ring, grab the yarn, pull once and twice, yarn over, go inside the ring, grab the yarn, pull once and twice. And now I'm going to repeat this until I have a total of 11 stitches. Once you finish your 11 double crochets, you're going to pull up a loop and you're going to close off this ring, and then you're simply just going to tie it off. So you're going to make a knot first, and then you're going to split the yarn in half until you have 2 and 2. Once you have 2 and 2, you're going to go underneath a random stitch, going to pull one tail underneath, the other one stays on top, and you simply just tie it off and cut off the excess. Now we're going to start the second row. So in the first stitch, you're going to slip stitch and chain 1. After you've done that, you're going to be alternating between all of the stitches. So in this gap, we're going to add 4 stitches all in the same spot. So in the first immediate stitch, you're going to make a single crochet, half double crochet, a double crochet, and then you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. Once that's done, on the next stitch, there's only going to be 3 stitches. You're going to make a double crochet, half double crochet, and then lastly a single crochet. Once you've done that, you're going to repeat this for the rest of this row, but I'm going to show you how to do it one more time. In the next stitch, there's going to be 4 stitches in the same spot. So you're going to make a single crochet, half double crochet, a double crochet, and then chain 2. Now for the next stitch, you're going to make a double crochet, half double crochet, and lastly a single crochet. And now you're going to repeat this until you have 5 points. Once you finish, this is what your star should look like, and I'm just going to slip stitch on the next stitch, and then I'm just going to chain 1 and cut off the excess. Once that's done, I'm simply going to show you how to tie it off, and you're just going to put your hook underneath a random stitch, split the yarn in half until you have 2 and 2. One part goes underneath, the other one stays on top, and then you simply just tie it off and cut off the excess. Since we're going to be doing multiple stars, I recommend you tie off as you go. That way the process becomes less tedious and you don't have to finish off 20 stars at the same time. And now that all my stars are done, I'm going to show you how to sew it onto the sweater. Once you finish attaching your sleeves, it's now time to sew on the stars. Personally, I'd lay a couple of them out and use stitch markers to place them down, but since I'm currently limited on stitch markers, I'm just going to do 1 or 2 at a time. So you're just going to grab your darning needle with some yarn, and then you're going to go underneath the panel, and you're going to drag this out so that the point is more noticeable. And then you're simply just going to go in and out of every single stitch. That way the star is flush to the base and there's no lifting. And you're basically going to repeat this until you reach where you started. Then you're going to tie it off and then repeat it for the rest of the stars. Once you finish attaching all the stars, I'll come back and show you how to add in the cuffs. I just finished attaching a couple of my stars, and I also finished the neckline, and now I'm going to show you how to do the cuffs. To do the cuffs, you're basically going to flip this inside out and fold it perfectly in half and make sure it's well aligned. And you're basically going to single crochet along the edge until you reach your sleeve. Once you reach your sleeve, you're going to make a round of single crochets, and then we're going to do the cuff. My sleeves are currently empty simply because I ran out of yarn and I don't have any more stars. But after you finish attaching this panel together, you're simply just going to flip your work inside out, bring the yarn through, and then you're just going to make a round of single crochets to prep it for the cuff. Try to remember how many stitches you do for this part, that way you can repeat it for the other side. Once I finish this, I'll come back and show you how to do the cuff. I just finished prepping my sleeve for the cuff, and since my color blends into the background, I'm simply just going to use a different color to show you how to do that. Once you reach this point, you're going to make a chain length of 8. Personally, I like to do 8, but obviously you can do more or less based on your liking. Once you have your chain length done, you're going to single crochet your way down. When you finish single crocheting your way down, if you're a beginner, I recommend adding a stitch marker on this very last stitch before you slip stitch, and you should also end up with 1 stitch less than what you chained. Once that's done, you're going to skip the stitch that's holding the chain, and you're going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. Once that's done, you're going to flip over your work, and you're going to skip these 2 stitches we just did, and then single crochet your way up using the back loop. So you're going to go on the back loop, and this is simply just going to give it a ribbed effect. So now you're just going to single crochet your way up, and then on the last stitch you're going to go through both loops, and this gives it a straighter edge. So now that I'm on the last stitch, I'm going to go through both loops, then flip over, go through both loops again, and then just single crochet your way down using the back loops. Once you finish that, you're going to move your stitch marker, and then you're going to slip stitch 2 times. So skip this stitch that's holding the chain, and then just go into the following 2, flip your work and skip those 2 stitches, and just single crochet your way up. If you still don't know how to do this ribbing, there's also a video in the description that can help you, but you're basically going to repeat this for the rest of this sweater, and once I finish that, I'll come back. I know this is a little bit hard to see because of the color, but once you're done, sometimes you might end up in the top like me, or sometimes you might end up in the bottom. Either way, you're going to fold this in half. You're going to make sure that you're going to create the seam in the inside and not the outside. Then you're just going to slip stitch, and then you're going to single crochet your way down, and then you fully tie it off at the bottom or at the top depending how many stitches you did. When you finish slip stitching, this is what it looks like on the inside, and then this is what it looks like on the outside. Now I'm going to show you how to tie it off, and I'm simply just going to cut off a little piece, make a knot. Then I'm going to go underneath the stitch and split the yarn in half until I have 2 and 2. Once I split the yarn in half, one part goes underneath, the other one stays on top, and you simply just tie it off and cut off the excess. Now I'm going to repeat this for the rest of the sweater, and once I finish, I'll come back with the final result. This is the final result, and I absolutely love how it turned out. I even wore it for the re-showing of Coraline, and I got so many compliments, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week.